I almost didn't make this video, and today we're going to talk about why. Hello and welcome, good people. It's your favorite Auntie CW, welcoming you to Words Are Wind, where we find out if the words we claim to live by hold the same meaning as our actions and break down the words that keep us from moving forward. Today's word is fear. I'm going to define for you what fear is, as well as the etymology of fear, so we can all be on the same page. Fear is a distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil, pain, etc. Whether the threat is real or imagined, the feeling or condition of being afraid. And the etymology of fear, ultimately where the word comes from, where it derives from. The word fear is derived from the Old English noun fear, meaning calamity, sudden danger, or peril. Over the centuries, this word has shifted from describing an external threat, like an ambush, to an internal emotion or response of dread. This channel is for informational purposes only, informational and educational purposes only. So take what matters and leave the rest behind. So I'm just going to go off the dome here. I was and still am afraid of how it may be perceived, how I may be perceived. Will the message get across? But the reason why I'm here before you now is because I'm afraid and I'm doing it anyway. There's so many folks on social media that this just comes so simple to, and it just kind of rolls off of them. I'm not one of those type of people, but I also know that I do have something that I want to share. And the only way that I can share it is through this form, through this medium. So here I am. So many of us have talents, gifts, business ideas, things that we really want to put out into the world. And for one reason or another, we don't. But at the base of most of that truly is fear. Fear of failure. Sometimes fear of success is a thing too. Fear of how it may be perceived, similar to how, my approach is. We tend to get in our heads. Shout out to my girl, Michelle, who's like, just do it anyway. Stop talking about it. And just do it. Right. And so here I am just doing it. But I want to talk about how fear can be crippling. If there's any of us that's out there right now who's living in a moment of time where you really feel as if the world is constricting on you, please understand that because of your fear, one thing that's really happening is growth, right? Growth is actually occurring, and we are usually typically afraid of things unknown. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of the unseen, the fear of the unpredictable, so many things that's out there. But what we're really fighting against is growth, right? Without just doing it anyway, we tend to hold ourselves back. And by doing that, we don't get to experience some of those, whatever it is that's new to experience. I'm a creature of comfort. I like predictability. I like things that I can, say what's happening next. But once this goes out there, who knows what's going to happen? And you know what? At this particular point, although I'm not really that okay with it, I'm okay with it. So, sometimes we allow these crippling thoughts to get into our heads. And we also sometimes allow people to get into our head where we share our thoughts and our ideas with them. And instead of them, supporting you, they think they're helping you, right? By giving you their input. But in reality, they're just feeding that fear that they may not even realize that you have, right? You have a fear, you're sharing it with them, hoping for maybe some encouragement, and they pour more doubt into you. So we have to be very careful how we share our thoughts, dreams, and ideas with people, not because they're looking out to hurt us. Some might be out to hurt us, but sometimes harm comes through help, if that makes sense. So as you're going on your journey, as you're moving forward in the world to, broaden new horizons for yourself, which is in, what I'm doing for myself at the moment, be afraid, be terrified, and still do it. There is a great business idea out there right now that's not being born because of fear. Or you may have gotten farther along than me. You may have actually done some things towards your effort, but you haven't moved forward. Today, I'm encouraging you to move forward. Today, I'm encouraging you to take that leap, take that step, whatever it is. Do not allow fear to cripple you. Do not allow it to paralyze you. What are the states of fear? Flight. What is it? What is it's like run or freeze or flight, fawn or something. Basically, it's a bunch of stuff that you do when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? That was absolutely terrible, and it's gonna be okay. I'm fine with that. But I I wanna talk about a little phrase that I've heard before, not that flight freeze thing that I couldn't clearly remember, but it is fear, false evidence appearing real. Whatever the roadblocks in your mind, they're not real. Are they something that needs to be considered? Yes, but they're not roadblocks. If it's something that you can get past, if it's something that you can move forward on, this is going to be my first cut. I'm not recording this again, right? Because I'm afraid. And if I record it again, all the authenticity that I'm putting forward will literally be gone, because now I'm going to be second guessing myself. So I'm challenging myself that this will be the first cut. And however it comes out is however it comes out. I encourage you to do the same thing. I encourage you also to surround yourself with people who are encouraging, folks who believe in you and are not going to feed doubts, right? And those doubts, we don't want them to multiply. Step out on faith, because that's also, that's also a thing too. Step out on faith. We allow these intrusive thoughts in our mind. And sometimes, when people hide behind perfectionists, I am by far not a perfectionist, but this step that I've been wanting to take for some time has crippled me in a little bit. I'm going to tell you a story, matter of fact, that's just not coming to me. When I was a little girl, it's one of those stories. When I was a little girl, maybe about 10 or 11 years old, I was afraid of the dark. I was afraid of the dark all the way up until about 10 or 11 years old. Terrified. More importantly, I was afraid of what was under my bed and in my closet. Something was in there. I know something was in there, and it was going to get me. And it was just a horrible feeling. One particular night, I had to use the bathroom in the middle of the night for whatever reason. It's not something that even typically happens, but I had to use the bathroom. So I'm laying in the bed, and the feeling of having to go is getting worse and worse and worse. And so finally, it's either go where I am or go where I'm supposed to go. And so I had to, go through this great expense of standing on the edge of my bed, jumping across the room to the door, hurry out the door because the closet was right next to the door, and get out into the hallway to go to the bathroom. I'm surprised I didn't have an accident with all those machinations going on. But I made it to the restroom, did what I had to do. Now I'm heading back into the room. Now I have to do all of this in reverse. I have to somehow jump across the room, but close the door, right? And I can't like swing it closed because I had one of those doors that you kind of had to close. It was a really light door. I couldn't slam it because if I slammed it, the real boogeyman would, would come out. And so finally, whatever I did, I finally made it into the room. My door was closed and I'm back in the bed. But I was so aggravated with myself. I was so aggravated with myself for the fact that I was scared of the dark. And here I am in my big double digits, afraid of the dark. No, we're not doing that. So without thinking, I slid out of my bed and slid under the bed. Heart pounding, body covered with sweat. I remember the moment vividly in my mind. And I'm under the bed. And I'm moving my arms around. Finally, I look around. There was a little moon. So it wasn't completely dark, but it was dark, right? But I'm moving my arms around, and guess what? There was nothing there. There was nothing under the bed. It was all in my head. It's like that song. It was all in my head. I think about it. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. I'm also one of those people who randomly break out in song for absolutely no reason, but there was nothing under my bed. And I stayed there for a while because there was a freezing moment, not going to lie, where I just kind of sat. But once I began to move my arms around, I realized that there was nothing under my bed because under my bed was clean. There was literally nothing under there besides me and maybe some dust bunnies. But that was a pivotal moment in my life. Crawled out from under the bed, opened the closet, went in there and kind of beat up the clothes for a little bit. Because, you never know. It could have known what I was going to do and could have ran to the closet. I mean, you just never know with these things. But went in there, beat up the clothes a little bit. You know how you go in there and you just kind of hit stuff and you're just like, something might be in here. Nothing was in the closet. It was empty. And so I walked away from my closet, stood in the middle of my room in the dark, free for the first time in forever. If it's time to leave, leave. If it's time to do, do. If it's time to wait, wait. Don't let fear be the reason why you're waiting. Sometimes you gotta spread your wings. And sometimes the direction is unclear. But if you feel that burning desire to make something happen, it really is going to be a pivotal point in your life. So it's important that you take that leap of faith. With that, I want to welcome you to Words Are Wind, where we'll do a deep dive each episode on words that we say that we live by, but perhaps on closer look we don't, and words that shouldn't stop us from being our best self. Thank you for staying with me to the end of this episode and welcome. Hopefully our journey will be amazing together. Words Are Wind. I'll see you next week.